So guys, last fall Amber and I decided to sponsor a child. Clinton is his name. He's a 3-year-old boy from Uganda. The money that we give every month will provide him with education and his family with food and basic health care, something they would only otherwise have access to if they were in the wealthier class within the country. According to this letter he gave us, his favorite food is Irish potatoes. His favorite games? Ball games. And if he could go anywhere in the world, he would go to Grandma's house. And this is a self-portrait he drew for us. But the reason that I, and now you, even know anything about Clinton is because of one of the most powerful human emotions, if you can call it an emotion: compassion. Compassion is poorly understood in today's world. For instance, I recently heard of a young child who was passing out candy at his school. What a cool kid! His actions were later described as compassionate. Wait, what? The word compassion is derived from Latin and literally translates to co-suffer. What this definition suggests is that for compassion to be possible, suffering is a necessary precursor. Now, candyless children, although they might try to convince you otherwise, aren't suffering a severe injustice. Now, though these kids' actions were kind and commendable and generous, possibly even empathetic and altruistic, I hesitate to say that they were compassionate. Instead, compassion is a response to observed or perceived suffering. Scientists have observed that compassion is innate in certain forms, that it is naturally occurring, and that it correlates to the amount and the relative activity of a specialized brain cell called a mirror neuron, located mainly where the frontal and the parietal lobe meet. So like not so much here, not so much like back here, but like right here. And these little mirror neurons are thought to be responsible for feelings of empathy. Research shows that when we observe another individual doing something, our mirror neurons become active, and then our brains behave as if we are doing the exact same thing. In fact, brain studies on sports superfans have shown that there is very little difference in brain activity whether they are watching a touchdown or running one in themselves. And these brain cells can kick on when we observe any type of behavior. They can also become active when we observe suffering. In effect, when we see somebody suffering, when we allow ourselves to truly observe it, our brains behave as if we are suffering with them at a certain level. When we couple this with love, it results in compassion. But this might lead you to ask, if compassion is so innate, then why is there so much suffering in the world? Like, a lot of suffering. Well, there's a lot of compassion stiflers out there, and I'm going to cover two. Research has shown that when we're in a state of vigilance to threat, or survival mode if you will, we behave in a more self-interested way. This effectively shuts down our mechanisms that are meant to induce compassion. Just think of every end-of-the-world dystopia you've ever seen displayed in the media. The merciless, cold, dog-eat-dog society of The Walking Dead seems absolutely probable to us, because we know our tendency and our predisposition to choose ourselves ahead of others, especially in situations of danger and scarcity. And this concept is clearly seen at play in some of the atrocities that have been perpetrated in human history. Also evident is the other extreme. Further studies have shown that the wealthier a person is, the less likely they are to be empathetic. It's been revealed that the wealthier we are, the more likely we are to cheat and steal and lie in order to gain more wealth, even further oppressing an already oppressed people. And this is terrible. I mean, the ones who have the power to do something are the ones who are further seduced into apathy. How? Well, one of the reasons cited for this is that when we gain wealth, we also gain independence and autonomy. Having graduated from being members of the rat race, we tend to be apathetic and judgmental of those who are still forced to participate. In essence, we forget, or perhaps never really knew, what it was like to suffer the way that less fortunate people do. We have trouble relating to suffering because we lose a sense of solidarity. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that being poor makes us do bad things, nor am I saying that wealth turns us into tyrants. But what I do want to say is that the next time that we see suffering, look at it. Give it a good long look. I think many of us are just so afraid of a sense of guilt and obligation that we would rather just turn a blind eye. But there is another emotion, another motivation that could be induced: compassion. And the beauty of acting out of compassion changes the world, and it changes us. We have been privileged to experience and to reflect a facet of God's love that is revealed in no other way. So guys, I hope that as we look out over the world that we live in, we pay attention to those things that cause compassion to stir in our heart, and we act on them, together even. Because I think life is best when we are doing something meaningful alongside the people that we love. So tell me what you guys think. Josh, Ben, and anyone else watching. I love you.